When the year 2020 began in January this year, most Kenyans were full of hope and plans for the new year. Even reports trickling in about a deadly disease that had broken out in the Wuhan province of China seemed to be a far-off incident. Little did they know that the disease would soon be knocking the doors in Kenya. Come 12th of March 2020, the first case of the disease was reported in the country. With the confirmation of the first case, the government responded with a raft of tough measures to curtail the disease. The toughest of all the measures was the immediate suspension of all public gatherings, meetings, sports, and religious crusades. Our journey to seek out some of the most affected sportsmen and women in the country took us to meet Jane Ndenga, Kenya's top-ranked wheelchair tennis female player. Jane Ndenga boasts of 8 gold medals, 9 silver, and 3 bronze on the international scene, and is also the player's representative in the Kenya Lawn Tennis Association, the African Lawn Tennis Association, and the International Tennis Federation. She is also the coordinator of wheelchair tennis in Kenya. First, she tells us how the COVID-19 pandemic affected her with her colleagues.
As a wheelchair tennis player, it has not been easy because I can totally say for each and everyone, life has never been the same, despite being a person's ability or not. And as a wheelchair tennis player, I can say it has really affected my life through trainings. Kwanza, let me say trainings. I can't go for trainings before, but now we can because at least non-contact sports has been allowed to train. But before it was hard. I watch what I eat first. That is very important. It also became very tough because now you will only eat what you can afford.
Other than being a player, Jane was also employed by the Action Network for the Disabled, where she was handling the Sexual Reproductive Health Project based in schools. When the schools were closed down, she lost her job, leaving her very vulnerable with no job and no sports career.
Having no sports, having no job, I can tell you it hasn't not been easy for me only, but to all my sportsmen and women. For instance, you depend on sports for, like you know how you program yourself. You let's program yourself, you know that if I have this tournament, you know the duration of your tournament and you know how when you get the money, how you save it and how you'll use it. But now totally it has been closed.
Having gone through so much pain, she looks back at the good old days before Corona happened with nostalgia.
Yeah, I can say before COVID, I couldn't worry about anything. For instance, number one, I can say I could easily buy what I want. There's need and want, but I could buy anything, you know. But now you have to differentiate between the need and the want. And before COVID, also I can tell you, like, I could program everything easily. You wake up, you know, I'm waking up, I'm going to do this. I'm always programming, like I know Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm at Nairobi Club by 4 p.m. training. And I know I will be at work in the morning from 9 to 4. And before COVID, I also knew the tournaments I'm going to compete in. Like, for instance, I knew 2020, I had 7 tournaments. Like, I had to play Karen Open, I had to play Kenya Open, I had to play Mauritius 3 tournaments, I had to play Nigeria and Ghana. And I had already received grants from my International Trade Federation, $2,700 US. That was enough for me to play all those tournaments. Then I've already programmed myself, and already I knew that these the tournaments that I will win, and I've already planned for them. You know, you plan for your money even before you receive them. When COVID came, now you know there's nothing you're programming. You're just there, and then you don't have a job, you don't have those tournaments are waiting for you, and then you know with the qualification of Olympics, those tournaments were really, really very important. Because in tennis, you have to have points, as is its points. The more features you play, the more points you gain. So by now, it could have been even like 60. Like before in February, I was ranked 60. And now the ranking shoot because now I didn't play those tournaments. So I'm 94. So you see, again, I'm back to the drawing board up there. Before, I pray that I will reach top 60 or top 50 before the Olympics. So, you know, COVID has really damaged everything in sports for me and for other players. And now that we're in COVID, I've really sat down and just thought, is it sports alone or I need to do other things? Strategizing again. Like, you know you have to, you come back and sit and then you say, okay, I've not been saving this much, I've not been doing this, I've not been relaxing enough. You know, sometimes you think positive and negative. Positively, I've been thinking, oh God, Jane, I've never been sleeping well, I've never had time even to relax for such a long time. And then the more you relax, the more you add weight, you know. So the weight content of the part of it has really been a struggle, because since COVID, you don't go to the training. The courts have been closed, there's curfew, the social distancing, there's nothing we are doing. So I came up with the training schedule just at home here. I have my home tennis, wheelchair tennis, the one I sit on at home. So I improvised that wheelchair tennis, not my own tennis for training tennis, wheelchair tennis, but the one that I just use the home wall, the surrounding wall, and then I use the ball. I just use my racket and I have some balls. So I hit as I run and I wheel at home, just wheeling around the compound, hitting the balls. That's what I've been doing. And then they're using the cooking oil. You see the cooking oil, like for instance, 5 kgs. I fill them up with soil or I fill them up with the water. Then both sides I use them as dumbbells to build my upper body. Responsibility is all about your upper body. When your upper body is active, every part of you is active.
Following the resumption of sports guidelines that were given out by the Ministry of Sports in September this year, sports activities are slowly picking up in the country. What is Jane's comeback strategy?
I'm the coordinator for the national team, wheelchair tennis coordinator. So I'm coming up with the schedule timetable. Now at least you can access the course at Nairobi Club. Writing to Kenya Long Tennis Association when we can resume. People are training, but now wheelchair tennis. We have to respect authority. Also, as the Bible says, respect authority. You have to come up with the guidelines. As much as it has been open, we have to be very careful. Because like a person's ability, you need to, as much as the government is not providing for you the PPIs, masks, sanitizers, gloves, you need also to just know how will I train. It's not a matter of going to the court and starting training without obeying the directives from the health ministry. So number one, we have to know how the devices, the assistive devices that I mean, my crutches, my wheelchairs, how will they be sanitized? Because you need to sanitize them. You need to sanitize them where you are keeping them. Is it clean? Is it fumigated? After training, where are you keeping your balls? Where are the nets being kept? How many people are ready to train, open up and come up with the training? So those are the things that I'm working on right now, and then I'll forward by next week. I think we can start training. Even Mombasa team, I'm coordinating even Mombasa team. Right now, they have access to the court. But again, I'm still advising them to be very careful, circulating the directives that we have so that we don't mess up. You know, as a person's ability, life is not the same, but you use devices. You know, unlike the body, you just go with the balls and racket. But here you need other assistive devices. You need to be very careful because little things can cause harm to your health. If you mess up, even accessing that health care, now where will you get that money to go for those treatments? Mm-hmm. Another thing is I'm advising every player, not only on wheelchair tennis. I'm always being their motivator on saving or everything health side. I'm advising them, please watch what you eat right now. Let's just watch what we eat, because the moment we are going back to the court, the momentum has gone down. Like 7 months you've been at home. So the momentum is not the same as it used to be. So try to watch, starting when the government just said, now non-contact, any other sports and athletics, you can go back. We started to go back to the drawing board, see how much are you sleeping, because, you know, during Corona, now as you are in Corona, you can sleep like the way you like. Your mind is now free to do anything. But now we are back, you have to set your mind on the things that you want to do. Now you start suggesting how. Because there's a goal now you are looking for, you are aiming at. It's not the same the way you used to be. So our aim is to qualify for Tokyo 2021.
For Jane, the tribulations that have faced sportsmen and women in the country should not discourage them, but instead should spur them to work harder. Here is our advice to our fellow sportsmen and women.
We are living in a new norm. Wherever each and everyone is, including me particularly, even in sports, we just need to know that you are living in a different season. But trust me, if you believe in God, as we always pray, you pray for things to change, because the same God who allowed it to happen is the same God who can allow it to clear. So as we continue with the life, we just have to live positively, I always encourage people, just be positive. Maintain positivity, because you never know what God wanted to teach us or what God wanted us to learn from the COVID. And I think so many people have learned, and I always say that God had a purpose and a reason for it to happen. So we just need to always work hard in everything that you do. Even as we go back to train, just train with a positive mind that, God, may this disease not catch me. We always believe that whatever you profess is what comes into being. If you believe that I'm going to train out there or I'm going to meet other people that will infect me, trust me, something that will just come as a disease and you'll be infected in another way. So always positivity. Number 2, always believe in what you're doing. No matter the new norm, whatever we are going to do, especially persons with abilities in sports, we depend on us. I always say I depend on me, because in life you can't always depend on people. They'll give you once, they'll give you twice, but they will get tired. So as a person's ability, always try hard to have something in your hand to sustain yourself, because you can't depend on people for long. Or again, you don't want to go to the street to beg. So as we continue with the new norm, everything that we put on our mind or as I wait also for the job to open up, because my boss called me and said I'm going to have a new program next year. I pray all the children will go back to school, because I work with children with disabilities in different schools, 5 schools. So I pray everything will open up. And the moment they open up, we'll go in with a full force, knowing that everything will change. A situation can never remain the same. Even in life, disease can come and go. How many diseases have we had? We had Ebola, we've had so many diseases, tuberculosis, everything has come. And they're scary. HIV is still there. But we moved on. Even Corona will come, and one day, even as long as it will take, it will end. But as it is running, what are we doing? We have to do something. Especially me, I'm really going out there to train. And I will train. And if they open up competitions, trust me, I will compete. Because I know the Lord who brought it will bring it to an